Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting Daily December. This is technically, it's being recorded at the wrong time because Critical Role went really, really late tonight. But this is Daily December 2015, Day 3. And tonight, because Critical Role just happened, I want to talk about something, to be 100% honest, really bothered me. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've just gotten done with all the shit that's been happening to me recently. I'm in a permanent bad mood for the time being. Like everything makes me mad. Um, and I've kind of just accepted that no, I'm going through a really rough patch in my life, and a lot of things are going to annoy me and upset me, and I just have to make sure that I don't let that anger uh, influence my decisions or anything like that. However, watching Critical Role tonight, like I started getting really upset. Simply because there were some mechanics that were completely ignored. That Matt Mercer is a phenomenal DM. He's probably one of the best DMs on the planet, and he runs his game however he wants to run his game, which is absolutely fine. It's great. Um, but he made a few mistakes, and one of these may just be how he runs his game, which he's completely, like I'm not saying that, he should change or anything like that because again, he's phenomenal and he runs an amazing game. But yeah, it really, with everything else that's been going on, it just really got to me. So to kind of give you guys a background, um, I've only actually been playing D&D um, since let's see, I think for about 3 years now, 3 or 4 years now. Maybe it's longer than that. Anyway, as far as actually the tabletop version, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons like video games since I was like 7. Uh, uh, so I'm very familiar with how Dungeons and Dragons work. I'm very familiar with their spells. I have been running D&D 5th edition games since it was called D&D Next during the playtest. I've run a weekly game for I think 2.5 years now. Maybe it's close to 3. But yeah, at least 2.5 years. So a weekly game for 2.5 years. It's well over 100 gaming sessions. Plus, I used to run another weekly game at my house. That was a 4th edition game. Plus, I run things at conventions, which will normally be, probably 4 or 5 games over a weekend. Um, Plus, I run my monthly game. So I have, when you factor in like the hours I've actually put in, I can pretty safely say that I probably have somewhere between 500 to 1,000 hours of DMing experience. Um, and one of the things that you learn very quickly is you have to know kind of the basics of just about everything once you get really comfortable with it. Otherwise, you're constantly opening up books and rules and things like that. That's one of the reasons that I don't play 3rd edition or Pathfinder, just because there are so many rules that you have to learn that it completely takes away from the game, in my personal opinion. So because of that, I'm very, very familiar, and I run beginner tables all the time. Like that's my main thing that I do is I run beginner tables. I teach people how to play the game. I completely forgot about my parody games, but yeah, I do that too. Um, I teach people how to play the game literally almost every week. So because of that, I've gotten very good at knowing what the rules are in general. Do I make mistakes? Yeah. Especially since I still have 4th edition rules in my head. I know a lot of the 3rd edition rules. I just don't like running it. And I even know some 2nd and 1st edition because I used to play 2nd edition games and stuff like that. And I believe I might have, I don't know about 1st edition, but so I'm very, very knowledgeable. And I also have, God, what else have I done? I've done the Dragon Age RPG, which is phenomenal. I love it. So yeah, anyway, enough about that. So, um, during the game tonight, um, there are a couple rules that were kind of ignored, and I'm assuming it was just a lapse in memory or something like that, which is fine. Again, I'm not mad at Matt Mercer or anything like that. I don't want you guys to think that, but it really got to me. And again, a lot of that is from everything else that's been happening, but I fixated on this and I just need to talk about it. So, the spell haste. The spell haste is kind of a broken spell, especially for melee characters. Basically, what it does is it gives you extra speed so you can move a lot more. It gives you an extra action that you can use to attack or a couple other things. And it raises your armor class by 1, which in 5th edition, 1 point in armor class actually is fairly significant compared to like 4th edition where it was nothing, and 3rd edition where it was, you know, not great but not amazing. Like 1 point didn't matter that much. 5th edition, it does matter. So all that for, it's either a 2nd or 3rd level spell, makes it a very, very broken spell. The thing that brings it back to reality is after haste wears off, you lose a turn in combat because you are exhausted. You lose your entire turn. You don't make a move, you don't have an action, you don't have a bonus action, you don't have a reaction. You lose an entire turn. When that happened, Matt Mercer, I'm assuming he just either didn't know or forgot about it. And that aspect of the spell, the thing that makes it not massively overpowered, was thrown out the window. And that annoyed the hell out of me because what he used for that was to do 2 massive hits and drain Percy twice, which shouldn't have happened. You know, that was like 50 damage that shouldn't have happened. And that also would have made combat in general end much faster, simply because you didn't have Briarwood doing all this crazy shit. So that annoyed me. Again, Matt Mercer is amazing. I'm not, Matt, if you ever see this, I am not getting mad at you. I'm just talking about that this really frustrated me and I have to get it out. So yeah, that annoyed, that really, really upset me. And then when Pike used Sacred Flame is a fantastic cantrip for clerics. And the thing about 5th edition is cantrips scale. At 1st level, it does 1d8 damage. At 5th level, it does 2d8 damage. At 11th level, it does 3d8 damage. So with Pike being an 11th or 12th level cleric, she should have been doing 3d8 damage. She did 1d8 damage because she asked Matt, how much damage did that do? And he's like, 1d8. That annoyed the hell out of me because first of all, it's radiant damage, and radiant damage versus vampires is good. Second of all, he was massively hurt. That extra 2d8 damage might have changed a lot of things. It might have changed who got the killing blow on him. It might have changed a ton of different things. And so that really, really upset me because that's a relatively basic rule that once you've been running games, you kind of know. Now again, Matt, if you're watching this, you're phenomenal. You're amazing. I'm not mad at you for doing this. This just irked me and I need to talk about it. Anyone that is watching this, do not tweet Matt. Please do not tweet Matt and tell him, well, Trainer Jody said you did this wrong and he thinks he can DM better than you. No, he's got so much more experience than I do. Like, again, I run a weekly game, and I have for like 2.5 years. Matt has been DMing longer than I have been alive. He has so much more experience in this. It's mind-boggling. So, no, I'm not yelling at Matt. It just really irked me. Then the final thing that really, really irked me was in the end when Vex, and this might just be a house rule that he made, I don't know. It would kind of fit in with the 3rd edition, I guess, mindset, just because they had a 3rd edition, 3.5, and Pathfinder had very bizarre ways to deal with death and being knocked unconscious. Like, you would bleed out and technically you didn't have to fail saving throws in order to die. Like, you would just continue to bleed out. and it's actually really really easy to die in third edition. Like it's super super easy to die. And Pathfinder takes it to an extreme where there are tons of situations where we call them roll or die situations, where basically you'll step on a trap or you'll get hit by a spell or something like that, and you roll a dice, and if you don't roll high enough, your character's gone. No, no death saves, no nothing like that. You're just done. Reroll a new character. And so when Vex was making rolls, technically what happens in 5th edition is if you get 3 successes, you do what's called stabilizing to the point where you don't have to make rolls anymore. If you get 3 failures, you die. You only regain a hit point if you roll a natural 20. So when she just kind of popped back into consciousness because she rolled 3 saves, again, Matt is amazing. He really, really is. This just annoyed the hell out of me because it's 100% not how the system is supposed to work. Now, everything else that happened in the game was trippy. Like, that was seriously one of the best episodes they've had since the fight with Kavarn. Like, it was just brilliant. I loved it. I was actually a little bit surprised with... Spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm going to talk about a few things that happened in it. So if you haven't seen it yet, pause this, go watch it. It's almost 4.5 hours long, but it was so, so good. But I was a little bit surprised when Percy started kind of going against his vengeance demon, that there weren't any rolls involved or anything. Like, I thought Matt would make him roll, and he didn't. So I'm interested to see what happens, because you can tell that Matt was thinking every time that Percy did something that was against his demon, you could tell Matt was taking notes. Like, next game, he's going to have to revisit that. And he's going to have to deal with the fact that he didn't give his vengeance demon what his vengeance demon deserves. So that was really, really cool. So, yeah. These are so infinitesimally small. But again, with everything else that's been happening this week, and I'm still not over getting fired, and I'm still not over the just very, very intense therapy that I went through last week. Yeah, last week, that's still messing with my head. And then the stuff that happened over Thanksgiving. Like, I am having a really, really bad couple of weeks here. And Critical Role is normally enough to take me out of that. And I just, these tiny, tiny, infinitesimally small things just took me out of it this week. And I am enraged right now, which is incredibly stupid. It really, really is. But yeah, that's how my brain's decided to work. And with depression and anxiety, one of the things that I've discovered is every so often I'm going to react to things that I know I shouldn't. And there's not a whole lot I can do about it other than go, you know what? You're angry, you're scared, you're panicked, whatever it is. There's nothing you can do about it right now. Don't let it influence how you treat people, because that's bad. And just get through it. And I'm going to get through it. And by tomorrow, I may rewatch this episode because it was just so damn good. But beyond that, I needed to talk about it because it really, really frustrated me. Anyway, that is all for me for the 3rd day of Daily December. I still have to record something for the 4th day of Daily December, which is now 3 hours into. So anyway, that's all for me today. See you guys tomorrow for another Daily December, right? Bye-bye!